excited because today we are launching book 3 of the Olympian Love series with Andrya Bailey is joining me, and we're going to have some people kind of popping on throughout the evening as we're doing this amazing book launch. But yay, it is here! Oh, I'm so excited!
Finally!
I know it's been a long time.
The engine is now available.
I love it. Yes, I love your cover. Let me pull it up so we can talk about your cover because I just absolutely love it. So I have Amazon pulled up. So I'm going to pull it up and we can kind of talk about your amazing.
I have it here, but I think like when I put it on the camera, it just looks the opposite.
Oh, see, I love it. Is that like a glossy finish? See, I need to order mine and get my copy.
No, it's actually this is like just a proof because I think the formatter is still working on for the print book. But of course, like the ebook is already available. It was today, the day. So whoever pre-ordered it before has already received the email with the book on it.
Oh man, I totally missed that. I was not in the loop on that one. But that is super exciting. I absolutely love to hear that. So I am just now diving into your series. And so I would love to know kind of what was your whole inspiration behind writing this love story. Like, I just am so fascinated. I want to know. Tell me what it is. Let me close my door so my youngest doesn't interrupt her.
Inspiration was basically Greece. I'm crazy about Greece. I'm crazy about mythology. I'm crazy about the history of Greece. So, you know, I thought it would be like super cool to have like a love story that had like a Greek character and is in Greece. So that's how it kind of like the idea was born, like many years ago until it came to fruition.
See, and I love that. So did you go and do like research and like go to actual Greece and like travel to all the places that you wanted to put in your book? Did that come later? I mean, that's like the perfect excuse to go to Greece.
Yes, I did. I actually started writing the book before I went to Greece, right? So I'm like writing the book, and like the second book, it's like in Greece. The first book is mostly in Houston, but the character is Greek. And then like on the second book, they go to Greece. So I had to do a lot of research online first. And then when I was almost done with the book, I had the opportunity to take a trip there. So I went to Athens and I traveled to all the places that I had described, stayed in the same hotel that I had described, that I had researched online, and it was pretty cool. And then I had the opportunity of going to Greece a couple more times after that. So while I was writing book number 3, because I had an idea of how it was going to end, but I didn't know where, right? So I needed to like have a different location, still in Greece. So book 3 is actually in Crete, the island of Crete. You know, like people that know mythology know the island of Crete is where the Minotaur used to be, to live in the mythology. So I went to Crete about 3 times and visited a lot of places there. So that was very convenient for me to put the location of book 3 in Crete, because I had just come back like from these 3 trips, almost like back to back. Within 2 years, I went there like 3 times, and I experienced a lot of interesting things. I saw a lot of the places, and it was just like perfect to write there. So the cover actually, as I have a proof here, this place is actually in Heraklion, which is the capital of the island of Crete. And that would be like very interesting because it has something to do with the story too, like at the end. But you all have to read first to figure out what happens there.
Don't give away any spoilers. I'm just diving in. Don't tell me any spoilers. I don't want to know.
No, I can't spoil. I'm saying like hi to a lot of my friends that are showing up there and saying hello. Yes. Let me say something in Portuguese. Oi, meninas, obrigada pela participação. Beijinhos. Espero que vocês fiquem aí até o final. Okay, I had to say something in Portuguese because a lot of my Brazilian friends are there.
You make that sound so elegant. Like, it's just so, this is so elegant. I absolutely love it. So your books have mythology in them. And so I'm assuming that that is a passion of yours, that, you know, diving into mythology and exploring those different kind of avenues is a passion for you. So because you tie it in very well into your book, which is probably the best I've ever seen. And so I want to know,
did you read first one?
Yes, I'm like, yeah, that's the one I'm reading. I'm like halfway through it, and I'm like, man, this is amazing. But I want to know how challenging that was for you to kind of incorporate it, and did you have to do a lot of research? Or did you already kind of know it because it's obviously a passion? I mean, if it's not, it really should be, because it's just very, very well done in your books.
It is a passion. I used to take classes of mythology and art history, so that is like a passion of mine. I don't have a degree in it, but it's just like a hobby, a passion, something that I really enjoy. And when I was young, when I was a child, I used to read a lot of the mythology books. And I read Homer, and I read the Odyssey, and like everything about the gods. And I just loved it. And I think that's actually, like, because I read those, that's where my passion to Greece started. I just I love the mythology so much. And then I started like looking into the country, and I just like absolutely loved everything about Greece and the language and everything else. So when I start like thinking, what can I do for Greece? Because the challenge of a romance is that you have to have the love between the two of them, right? But I needed a plot or something that makes it more interesting, also for my own pleasure in writing, right? Not just like love scenes and the kissing and the intrigue of that, but also something that would make me research a little bit more and put in my passion for history and mythology. So having the main character, Nikos, being an archaeologist and a curator of a museum in Greece, had everything to do with throwing in some of this mythology in the picture. Because a lot of the objects that we see in museums, and even the temples there in Athens, of course, are all for gods of the past. So that made total sense for me to do it. And the interesting thing too is that I would have like an idea of something, so I would make sure to research to see what was happening with with that specific tale, right? So to see like how I could incorporate the tale, like sometimes they call somebody else this, or they refer to like a specific event that it's interesting for the characters because they experienced that, or they're like studying or talking about that at the time. So that kind of like research end up like putting me in different ways also to write the book.
Right. See, and I just love that. I took Greek mythology when I was in college, and I was fascinated by it. So I'm curious to know, who is your favorite Greek god in mythology? Or goddess. We could do goddess, either one.
No, well, it's a couple actually. But it's interesting. Hades is actually my favorite. The god of the underworld.
Gotta be a story there. Why is that?
I just find it extremely interesting, that he ended up like being, not that he wanted to, but who knows the story, like all the lands and the sea and the underworld were divided between the three surviving main sons of Saturn. And Hades ended up with the underworld. And it is very mysterious, and I think it's very sexy actually to do that, just because of the darkness, and at the same time about his passion for Persephone. So when he fell in love with her and he kidnapped her to the underworld because he wanted to marry her, and she didn't want to. And I find that love story extremely exciting because she ended up like, staying there as the queen of the underworld for 6 months of the year. And then for the other 6 months, she kind of comes back to Earth. And that's where her mother Ceres gets very, very happy. And then that's where spring and autumn happens. So I find I love that for some reason.
Oh, see, so does that correlate with any of your characters? Does Hades come out in any of your characters that you write about, or is that yet to be determined, or you just love him?
No, I just love him, but then I think it's in book 2 that there are some references to that story as well, you know? Because like my main character, Sabrina, she's totally in love with him and she wants him to just like be her hate and kidnap her and take her away and you know, and she doesn't want to see anybody else. She just wants to be with him. So there is a little bit of a reference to that. And then some other gods also, you know, and goddesses. There's a lot of reference, and also reference to Poseidon, because that is actually, I think, my second favorite. Because I find it like extremely interesting too, like that he's like in the sea with the trident and all that stuff. So there's always this mysterious things of place that we don't know, right? Because like the underworld, we don't know hell, what's happening there, and we don't know the sea, like the mysteries of like the bottom of the sea, all that stuff. It's also like very, very, very dark and crazy. So Poseidon is also mentioned, especially because in book 2, and let me see here, I have book 2 and the cover. This is a temple of Poseidon close to Athens. And I went there, and it is extremely, I think it's the most beautiful site that I've ever seen in Greece so far. I mean, of course, I haven't been to all the islands, and there are still a lot of things to explore, but that was just absolutely top. You know, like the sunset there is amazing. I went there, I visited, I was so in love with it. And there is a very, very, very beautiful scene that I love, that scene that is in book 2, where they go to this place and explore it.
Wow. Okay, so you like the dark, mysterious, alluring gods. I'm just going to say that those are also the type of guys that you like, that you write about, is dark, mysterious, and alluring. And it's like, oh, this is just this, you don't know what could happen, and you're just attracted to it because you're just like, oh, it's the mystery, and it's just, oh, you know.
Yes, the secrets. You don't know what's gonna happen, but you know, so yeah.
Yes. Hey, you know.
That's my love stories too.
I get it. I'm all down. Everybody at some point loves, you know, the mysterious, alluring guy who's just, you know, I don't know. He just is. I don't know. For me, I picture like the mysterious guy is like the one that's like at the bar, and he's just so cool, and he's like not needing anyone's attention, but they're like drawn to him because he's just dark and charming, and you're just like, oh, you just draw me in. Why? You know, that's just.
Yes, that's exactly how Nikos is supposed to be, you know, like this very tall, dark, Mediterranean-looking guy. Like, just imagine the best looking thing you can ever imagine, like a Greek god, right? And that's what happens. It's like, this is like a story of love at first sight. So that's a fairy tale, right? Like love at first sight. She sees him, she's immediately like drawn to him, she immediately falls in love with him. And then, see, the books are all on her point of view, right? So we only see what she is experiencing, what people are telling her, what he is telling her. She has no idea of what really he is doing, or, you know, what are the other people doing. So it is normal that we as women are always going to be doubtful or a little surprised, because we don't know exactly what the guys in our life are doing, really, right? They may say something, but it's like, is it true? You know, does he really want me? Does he really like me? I'm not sure if he wants to go out with me just because, or whatever. So, you know, that she has all these insecurities. And as you said, especially because he is very mysterious. You know, so he doesn't say a lot of things about himself. She's just like trying to find out. In the beginning of the, in book 1, they just meet, and he's just gonna be like in Houston for like 2 months. So she's like so attracted to him, and she wants to know more about him. But she also knows that, oh my God, like how can I invest my time in this guy that's just gonna be here for 2 months? He's gonna go back, and I may never see him again. So she is very conflicted about her main love at first sight for him, and then the desire to be with him, and knowing that it may be totally impossible, that she may never see him again after 2 months. And then something happens and he goes back even earlier than that. So
that is so like, it's like part of the mystery. And just, I don't know, for me, I relate, it makes me love her more, because like, women, like you were saying, we always have these like apprehensions about things and we're all like doubting and doing all these things, right? But then at the same time, it's like, just jump, just go, do it, enjoy it. It's 2 months, like do it, Oh, that's just where I am. I'm just like, it's a love-hate relationship. It's a love-hate relationship. I promise.
Yes. I know, like, should I stay with you and I know that I may never see you again? Or is there any hope that you fall in love with me helplessly and then we end up together? So,
it's the wonder. It's the wonder. And you're just like, oh, just take a chance. Just go. You can do it. It's just, I find myself yelling at the book myself. Okay. I'm like, oh, well, just do it. What are you doing? That's just me. I get so frustrated.
I know. Like, and sometimes just like, no. And, I don't think he likes me. I'm just going to, forget about it. And then she's like, she can't get him out of her mind. So, that's the main conflict.
I know.
It goes on and on. And then book 2, she's even more, there's even more troubles because she meets him in his environment, so she meets his friends, she meets his family, and there's even more mystery, and nobody tells her anything because nobody feels like telling her his life, right? Because and nobody's gonna tell her like what's going on in his life because it is his life. If he wants to tell him, he'll tell himself. So, and then she gets even more frustrated because she wants to know, and he doesn't want to tell her things because
men are just stubborn. Men are stubborn. Why can't they just be open and understand? I don't get it. Oh, just
because if that happened, there would not be like 3 books and there would be no romance. You don't see somebody falls in love at first sight and then just like happily ever after. Other people come into the picture, making gossips and trying to make them to separate them, and that's exactly what happens. I mean, that's also easy to understand the separation because obviously they are like in 2 different continents. So she's in Houston, he's in Athens, he needs to go back, he doesn't live here, she doesn't know if she's ever going to go there again. So obviously there are already those elements that separate them from being together right away. So until we resolve it in book 3, like how they're going to come together, because it's a romance, so of course they would have to figure out how to come together. But it goes on and on and on and on until the very, very, very end. So I hope that book 3 will be thrilling enough that people will be so curious to find out exactly what happens all the way to the end.
I'm excited. I'm telling you, I love them. I love and hate them. They frustrate me. And they frustrate me so much. I'm just like, oh, what are you doing? Like when you're talking to someone, you just want to shake them because you're like, why don't you see this? That's how I am. That's how I feel.
Exactly. And that's how she is. She's like this, And the thing is, she doesn't know if he really loves her, and he never tells her that, in the beginning of the book. So she's like, obviously, what I tried to do was I tried to make his attitude and his behavior show more than telling, right? So if and I get this from a lot of the people that read the book, they say, oh my God, he was so into her and he didn't say anything, but he was always after her, and the chemistry is totally like wonderful. And that's what I was intending to do. I wanted to really have to build that chemistry between them, that it was kind of like unavoidable. Electricity sparks when they are together in the same room. You can tell how hot they are for each other, how just like they can't keep away from each other. But at the same time, that is also a problem, anxiety, fear.
Yes. I'm telling you, I love it. I'm trying to get through these books so I can read book 3. Because I'm like, I need to know what happens. I'm just one of those impatient people, I'm like, I have got to know. And then I'm all frustrated with her. And I'm just like, what are you doing? And then,
are you in book 1 right now?
Yes, I'm on book 1. I'm almost done with it though. I feel like I'm over halfway done. That's just me, though I'm biased because it's myself. So, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm halfway done, okay? I thoroughly am enjoying it, but I'm just like, man, like, I don't know. It's one of those, I love it. I absolutely love it to the point where I feel like when I'm reading it, I'm like there witnessing this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm there. I relate so much to them. So.
Oh, thank you. Well, I also try to do this because the way I write is that in my mind, there's a movie, right? So
Yeah,
I'm watching all the scenes. So I'm trying to put whatever I'm watching in my mind and write them, so that so that people can try to see what I'm seeing as well. Obviously, everybody sees it differently because as some writer who I always forget who said this quote, like nobody reads the same book, right? Mm-hmm. So I write something, you read it differently than somebody else. I mean, there are people that love it, there are people that hate it. I mean, that's normal because nobody's going to like the same thing anyways, but people perceive it differently too, and that's the interesting thing. So what I'm trying to pass on is that movie kind of scenario, and I still see it. Like when I think about some of the scenes, I can totally see them happening. So it's just like in my mind, it's like my own movie.
Yes, I read it before bed. So my dreams is like this whole thing acting out. So it's like, it's not haunting, but it's kind of haunts me in my dream. Because then I'm like, man, I need to like see what happens next. I need to wake up and read my book, right? So it's like, but I read before bed to like wind down, but it doesn't really wind me down. So I'm like, I don't it's the purpose.
Yeah, it's a lot of things happening, so it's not going to be like
No, but I love it because I literally feel like I'm there, or like you said, like I'm watching it happen, and it's just, I don't know. I love books that do that because it really takes you out of reality for however long, a brief moment in time or whatever, or like in my dreams, right? And yes. So I don't know. To me, I feel like the best writers can do that. Can take me out of reality, and I can imagine being there and going through all this stuff, And so I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm having so much fun reading them and frustration at the same time, but I absolutely love it. I really do.
That's great. Now I had like somebody tell me, several people, but specifically this one that said, actually, I think there's a review even for book 2 because book 2 is in Greece. And then but as I told you before, like I wrote it while I was doing research, and then I end up going there and came back and fixed some things with my perspective of having been there. And somebody said that they felt like they were actually traveling in Greece because they thought that the descriptions were like excellent, almost like if Greece was like another character. So that made me very, very happy because that was my purpose. I really wanted to try to pass that, not my love for Greece, but also trying to make sure that people could visualize where they were and enjoy that.
Yeah, see, I absolutely love that. I cannot wait to read book 2. But Leroy has a question for you. So you guys, if you have questions, you want answers, or, no spoilers, but we may do hints every now and then on what's going to happen. You don't know if you word your question just right, you may get some spoilers. But if you have them, drop them in the chat. I will make sure that we get them answered. So Leroy's question is how to write about the different places in your book. So I'm assuming that's how do you write about the different places in your books. Does that come easy for you? Is that, difficult kind of making the transitions? How do you do that?
No, it is easy because I love that, right? And I like the descriptions of the places. I used to have a blog a couple of years ago where I used to describe my travels. I love traveling, that's one. Actually, my degree, I have a bachelor's of art in tourism management.
Oh, okay.
So, I was always crazy about traveling, and because I'm also passionate about writing, I put them together at one point, so I was writing a blog about some of my travels. So that is one thing that I enjoy doing, describing places, describing locations. I can describe them by heart, of course, and I can describe them just by doing research. If I go and watch a movie or, watch videos about a specific place that I haven't been to, I can try to write, as much as I can experience that, but I prefer actually to write something from places that I've been to. I think it's more fun because my all my senses have been enhanced by being in the place. So I can smell, I can remember the smells of the place, whatever I ate, the tastes, the sights, the sounds. So that is much easier for me to incorporate in the writing by doing this. And because the book was in two locations, basically, right? Because it is in Houston and it's in Athens, Greece, because not only they go to Athens on book 2, but then they go to Crete in book 3, and Houston, and in book 1 there's also a little bit of San Antonio, and they go to the missions in San Antonio because it's an archaeological site. I kept the theme of archaeology throughout the book, even though they were here. It is something that would interest him and her too, because she's a history art major. So I had been to the missions before, and I remembered a lot of things but I ended up going again just to make sure, that I was describing all the places correctly, and making sure that they were going to be okay in the book. I think that what he was trying to ask, or I'm not sure.
I will say the missions in book 1 you nailed. I'm from San Antonio, and you were spot on. So I'm throwing that out there. But we do have another one, and I agree. I have the same question. It's, do you have Nico there behind the door? And if so, can she come and meet him? Yes. Yes.
Okay, I have Nico behind the door?
Yes, she does. She's hiding him all from us. She's hiding him. I know she is.
Yes, he's behind the door in Greece.
We all need a Nico in our life. We all need one.
Well, you can imagine whoever you want, because I had somebody in my mind, obviously, like as the picture of what I imagine Nikos to be, right? So I had the picture, and I looked at that person doing a lot of things to kind of mirror what the behaviors of Nikos, like some of the things that he does, how he portrays himself, because he's very serious. He's not like, he doesn't come out like as a very, very, very playful person. He's very serious. He tries to be very professional most of the time. He's very much in control because he has a lot of responsibility. Also, he feels responsible for his family, and he doesn't want to hurt Sabrina. And that makes him like an extremely responsible person, and not very playful. He has so much in his mind that he's always, working towards his goals and trying to solve things and trying to be in control of everything. And that makes him like more of a serious person. And that brings that mystery around because he's so responsible. He has all these professional things behind him. And then he just but he's in love with her because you can see like how the chemistry is so much. So he just lets himself down a little bit whenever he's with her.
Yeah, lets himself breathe a little bit. I have noticed that, but it's so frustrating that he's so serious and stuff. You're just like, man, loosen up, go have fun or something. That's, I don't know. That's just, my personality is all about fun. So, I guess
it's gonna be like interesting because there is a new character that comes up in book 2 that is a rival of Nikos, and he's very different. Very different than Nikos. He's completely the opposite, and he's very playful. He's too much sometimes, like I know that Fern hates him and a lot of people hate him in book 2, but I thought that it was very fun to write about him because I wanted him to be basically the opposite of Nikos, responsible too because he's like a professional and like a rival of Nikos in a lot of things, but his demeanor is completely different. He's a tease, he's just like a charmer. He does on purpose, like the seducing game, while Nikos doesn't. He's just like quiet, and I mean, people are drawn to him, but it's not like he's flirting left and right with people.
Yeah, he's more reserved. Yeah, man, I don't know, because that sounds appealing for me. Like, fun, charming. Yeah, let's do it. That, I don't know, because Nico's appealing, and it's like mysterious and serious, but sometimes I'm like, I need fun in my life. Like I don't.
Yes. Well,
you
you have to tell me whenever you read book 2 and meet Alexei, what you're gonna feel about him. What you feel about him in book 2 may be different than what you see about him in book 3, because he continues. I had to insert a couple of different characters in book 2, so we could have like a little more of a fun plot with more people and more intrigue and people telling her things and making her life even more miserable.
I know. Bless her heart. I'm excited for book 2 though, but I am very excited about book 3 because there's an ending. Okay, like I'm finally gonna know what happened. So I am extremely excited about book 3. So what vague description of or summary of book 3 without giving anything away that people can look forward to in this book?
Well, for those who finished book 2, and I know a lot of people did, and they were always complaining to me like, when is book 3 coming? So something happened to Sabrina and Nikos while they were in Greece.
Oh my goodness.
She made a very bad mistake. In her mind, it was the right thing to do, but it was a very, very bad mistake that ended up splitting her away from him even more, right? So book 3 starts with her completely miserable and remembering what she did and how she's now, she can't live with herself, she's just like totally upset with what she did. She thinks that Nikos will never talk to her again. She's the cause of all this pain that she inflicted upon herself and in their relationship, and he's there in Greece, and she has no idea what's going to happen, and she's trying to forget. She's trying to forget everything. She's trying to move on with her life. Her graduation is upon her. She's finally finishing her master's degree, but she can't get him out of her mind. And then she meets Alexei because he came from Greece to Houston, and this has already been hinted in book 2 anyways. And when she meets him, everything comes back to her, like her wounds are reopened, because Alexei is the catalyst for her to never forget Nikos. Now she has somebody that was there with her, somebody that is also Greek, somebody there, and then it's just like, how can she live with herself knowing that she's not with Nikos? So a lot of things happen. Nikos ends up coming back to Houston because he had a lot of undone business that he had to take care of, because he had to go back to Greece in book 1 kind of like in a hurry because of something that happened. And he comes back to Houston, and then there is a lot of conflict between her and him again. When they meet again, it's just like they can't stay away from each other. But I can't give a lot of spoilers, because if you haven't read it, you don't know exactly what happened. So they cannot get together until like the very, very, very ending. So I think that the appeal of it is like, how are they finally going to resolve their issues and get together? Because there are so much things on their way. There are so many things that seem like there's no way that they're going to get away from this situation. So how are they getting together? What's going to happen? Is he going to forgive? for what she did.
I don't know.
Love each other.
I need to get through my book so I can read it.
Yes, you have to.
I have to. So remember, you guys, if you have questions or whatever, you can always drop them in the comment. I'll make sure they get answered as we go. Everyone that is commenting, if you share the video, like, share, and comment, I'm going to enter you onto the Wheel of Names, which is what I call it, and we'll be doing a giveaway of book 3 at the end of my conversation with her. So there is that. So comment, you guys, like and share, ask questions. We are here to answer them and just to have a good time and to celebrate. Finally, book 3 is out. Gosh, it has,
I know, like we have all the 3 of them. First one.
Yeah.
And the second. And the third.
Finally.
I know, right? Finally. I'm so happy when I got this proof yesterday. It still says not for resale here, like ribbons and everything. But I just needed to see in my hands how it's going to look like whenever this one is available. Because I think it's going to be available just very soon. I don't know. I have to check with Fern. Because the problem with this one was the formatting. So there is like a couple of things. I just got the proof anyways just because I wanted something.
Yes.
But there were like a couple of issues that had to be fixed before it goes to print. And but the ebook is available. So those who prefer ebook, it's available. It was on pre-order until today. And now today is totally available for sale on Amazon. And everybody can have a copy, read, and find out. Now, there is something too that I will say. I know if you've been reading book 1, you know that there is a couple of songs that happen in the book, right? That they listen to while they're going to San Antonio, and then some songs that like just happen to be playing when she puts something on, and they have something to do with the mood of what's happening there. So book 3, I just did the soundtrack at the back. So you have like a little bit of a treat there. The trilogy playlist credits, this is in the back of the book. So you have all the songs that appear in book 1, all the songs that appear in book 2, and all the songs that appear in book 3. So if you want to know the mood of the characters and why they were listening to this, you can just take a look at that and listening to the songs. And there is also some songs in Greek, right? So that would be very interesting because in book 3, she actually goes to a concert and attends this really, really beautiful concert that is very typical Greek concert. They call it the bouzoukia. They have like all these artists coming in, they sing, and then like it's you've probably seen like in movies before where the spectators go and throw flowers at the artist when they are singing to show their appreciation. Yes. And I was lucky enough that I participated in one live while I was in Crete. Ooh. So it was when I came back, I said I have to put this on the book because it was so vivid in my imagination, and I thought it was so typically cool, and then also to introduce a little bit more of the culture of Greece to the readers. So she goes into one of those things, and then I put her attending the concert of like one of the Greek singers that I like a lot. That's not the one that I saw live. The one that I saw live was also really wonderful, and it was so cool. I even took a picture of him, right? So, and I didn't even know he was like this super famous Greek singer. But like this other one, because I listen to a lot of Greek songs. I take Greek classes. I'm learning how to speak Greek.
Oh,
my teacher always.
He's Greek.
Καλά, ευχαριστώ και εσύ.
I love it.
Συγγνώμη, I will speak for English for everyone else, but I was running a little bit late. I got caught up in the busy rush of California weather.
It is all good.
You're probably at the beach or something, right? And then we are here
well, I wish I was at the beach. I actually got, I'm actually in the city. I was speaking with another writer, movie friend of mine, and we got over. He's just arrived in LA from
Greece,
Italy, Italiano.
Italy. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
I was just talking about like how in book 3 I described Bouzoukia, because when I was in Heraklion the last time I went to see one, and then like I put in Nikos Vertis as the singer that she's attending, because the songs are so passionate that I had to do it.
It's funny about the bouzouki. I was thinking about actually starting to learn an instrument again, and I thought, bouzouki would be great, ding 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 ding, and just go for it. But it's
so Greek. It's so Greek.
Very Greek, I know. But the bouzouki actually comes. Really, a lot of it comes from like the Eastern Anatolia. It comes from the Eastern Greeks, and it came over much more so after 22. There was a lot more of that sort of what we call bonozondo, the sort of two things.
Yes.
I would.
Yeah. Well, like that. What's the name of the song? Okay, I was telling them that I have the playlist here at the back. Thelona Meniosis. You know that one by Nikos Vertis, right? Very, very, very famous. I do that one. It has everything to do with my character, like being so heartbroken at the end, and she doesn't even understand Greek, but she goes and listens to that song, and she's totally devastated because the way that Nikos Vertis like sings that is so heartfelt, So
I know.
I just put it out there.
If a Brazilian is telling us about love, if they're coming to Greece to learn love, then we must be doing something right. Huh?
Right. Well, my Greek, the Greek character, and like the girl falls in love with him. But I don't know if you saw, but the book 3, see the cover, where there is, right? You know where there is.
Yeah, I could. This, by the way, this is.
Oh, hey Zach, are you from Crete, or were you born there?
I'm from Crete. My family are from Crete.
Okay,
I'm a Crete. So no, absolutely. I know I've got a British accent, but it's one of those things. I went to school in England, but no, my family are all in Crete. Well, not all, but a lot of them are. I'm from places of Hania in Crete. Samaria Gorge, down there, Sfakia, which is sort of bandit country. That's my sort of soul, where my soul is, and I feel at home. And it's funny, I had a friend of mine who's from Peru, and he accidentally said, I'm going to be in Greece. And he lives in Indianapolis actually now, but he was saying, I'm going to be in Greece. I said, where are you going to be? Because I'm going to be in Crete. I'm like, when are you going to be there? I'm going to be there June. This was like 2 years ago. June, whatever it was, June the 15th. I was like, is this guy joking with me? That's when I always go and see the family. Because and I said, where are you going to be? Because I'm going to be near Hania. I'm like, he must be joking. This guy I've known since we were at boarding school, since we were like 10 years old. And anyway, cut a long story, in England, yeah. So cut a long story short, the whole family turn up, and I've known his family very well. And he says, I've known you all these years, and now I get you. Now I get it. Now I understand. I understand you. In Crete, because Crete is like the Texas of Greece, I suppose.
The biggest island.
I love it already.
It's a big island. You are. But it's not just the Texas, because it's also the oldest part of the civilization of Greece is Crete.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
The Minoans. It's like the palace of there, like in Heraklion, Palace of Knossos, is the oldest palace in Europe.
Yeah.
In the civilization.
The oldest continually inhabited city in the world is actually it's actually Argos. Continually inhabited city in the world is Argos, and I think Athens is second after that. But the Cretans were like a very powerful culture, and the Minotaur and all that stuff, and there's very strong sense of being from the island, and it's quite a magical place. but the modern Cretans are much more from other areas, which is about our resistance to the Turks, resistance to the Germans, resistance to anyone who wants to come and mess with us, and then basically, and we're pretty good at it. And so it's a cool history to have. I mean, I got to be honest, it's a pretty cool one. So I'm pretty happy with that. But
yes, very nice. And also the invasion, like they were taken by the Venetians. You have the Venetian fort there. That is like one of the main landmarks in the Heraklion, and it's very cool. And that's why I chose to be like in the cover, because it made it for a nice background.
Yeah, well, actually, that's true. But the Venetians and the Cretans had a sort of slightly more. It wasn't quite an invasion per se, but they betrayed us when they left us to the Turks in 1660. But that's very interesting with that, because you're right. But we reconquered the land from the Arabs in 900 AD, and there were 9 princes that were sent out. It's quite romantic, actually. Yeah, they're quite good. And
I'm getting a whole Greek lesson here about Greek.
Anyway, that's not the end of that. We're talking about books here, not about history.
I am learning.
No, but the book is in Crete. The last one they end up in Crete anyway, so that's okay, because since I went there like 3 times within the last 2 years, it was so vivid in my mind, like the places that I went to. I was pretty much more in Heraklion than the others. I wanted to go to Hania, but we never had the chance to go. But I went
to the better side. The west side is much better.
I know.
Don't go on that side. No. You want to be this side of the island.
But I was with friends that were just like there in Heraklion, and they wanted to be there. One of them lived there anyways, and the other was just coming to visit. So, but I was like, okay, fine. Like I was able to go out with Greek people and experience like a lot of the Greek way of life, and going out and the cafes and all the stuff that I wouldn't have otherwise if I was just there like a tourist by myself. So it was pretty cool, having my Greek friends there with me, like to go out with them like they do like on a daily basis. So it's
it's a great lifestyle. It's a great lifestyle.
See, look, people are finding the history romantic. I was being serious. I like the history lesson I'm getting. I love it. But Zack, you also have a historical fiction romance book. It's all tied into one, I would say. Right?
Yeah.
So tell us about that one.
This book is great.
Yeah, thank you. It's about 2 brothers, and it's based from Crete, and it's based in the 1450s, 1450s, as the fall of the Byzantine Empire, and they both, they both go off to the capital, and there they discover Katerina, and the 3 of them determine the fate of both the Greeks and the Ottomans, and the Greeks and the Turks, the fate of 2 worlds. But really, it's a book about choices. It's not a book about romance. It's not a book about historical stuff. That's the setting. It's a book about choices that we make. You either get bitter or you get better as you get older. You either choose to be good or you choose to be bad. You choose to be great or you choose to be, winners adapt, losers make excuses. However you want to look at it. It's like, it's about choices that we make, not about the fact that we are born inherently good or bad. And so it's loosely based on my family, so that's probably why I know so much about the history. But it's really about the fact that it's sort of, I want to tell the story of my people, and it's a pretty good story. I mean, we kick some ass, and and it's a good story, and there's a lot of betrayal, and there's never, there's good where there's good. There's sort of bits where there's the fact that in the Greek world, women had a lot of rights, for instance, a lot more than people would have assumed. Things that we get today about integrated societies and education, the fork, banking system, come from that period, from that part of the world. I mean, to have a woman running the country was not a big deal. I mean, technically, she might not have been the empress. She was just the empress, but she ran the country. And there was a lot of those situations where very strong women in Greek culture. That's why we say "spartidias," which I shouldn't say on the thing, but which is they
It's not like I understood it anyway.
they can bust you a little bit, but they're strong, and they're strong because actually fundamentally for all of the stereotypes of how Greeks are about, they're all mucho machismo. They're actually much more understanding and much more balanced than people would give them credit for. I mean, that's
because it comes off as very patriarchal, but there were a lot of huge influence of women, especially the empresses in the Byzantine Empire.
Yeah.
You see, like Theodora, for example, is like one of the biggest ones anyways. And then a lot of things that they came and did during that time. I mean, I love that part of history too, the Byzantine. I don't like to write the historical romance, but I like to read a lot of it. So if everybody like finishes my trilogy and are crazy about Crete, you have to pick up like Zack's book.
Oh, right. Well, I've got the other one coming up. There's a novella coming out about Alexis and Irene, who are the Alexis is like the boy's mentor, and Irene is like she's this very interesting character in the first novel, and it's a backstory about how they met as young adults and what happened to them, and it's a sense of a sense of the love story, but not in the way that you think it is. It's just a novella that's coming out next month, actually. Which
next month, great.
Yeah, by another Greek lady who did the Theophanes one, actually, which is quite good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you showed me that drawing. Yes, that was pretty cool. Beautiful. I loved it.
Thank you.
So Zack, we were talking about Greek mythology and the different, Greek gods and goddesses, and Andrea told us that what her favorite was Hades. So what or who is your favorite from mythology?
Oh, that's way too personal. That's a really personal thing now. I don't know. Well, Zeus is actually the island. Zeus was born on Crete. That's his island. The same way that Aphrodite was born on Cyprus, and Poseidon was born at the Sunio Cape near Athens. But I think my favorite god. This is going to be very revealing, isn't it? No, it's not. My favorite god is probably Pan, actually.
Pan? Oh, okay.
Right, and the reason why is not because he's a naughty god and he's the god of mischief and fun, but because Pan is actually one of the oldest gods.
Because you want wine, you want
he wanted wine, but he's also one of the oldest gods. And he's also a god that did not get involved in all of the petty jealousies and rivalries. He just was too busy having a good time.
That's true.
It's true. And he's actually also extremely powerful, but he never really sort of shoved it around. So I like Pan. He's the one with the sort of, he played the flutes and he was a god of music. And
he just wants the grapes to be like even to him.
As well, yeah. So I probably be my god, but he can defend himself if he needed to, But.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. What about you, Aimee? What is your god then?
Oh, mine's Persephone. That's mine.
Really?
Mine's
Do we need some pomegranates now? Don't we? Every 6 months. That's very romantic, Persephone. Wow.
I know. I told her that I love that story of Hades and Persephone, anyways, and that's
I like
even mentioned that too, actually.
Yeah, see, I like the story, but see, this is, I guess, very telling of me. I really like her name. So that's why I like her. Like, I like the story and there's like between like her and Hades, like, because I know, yours is Hades, but it's just, she kind of just did what she had to do, and so I don't know, I can relate to her in a sense, and then I really just liked her name. So I was like,
so you have like a baby 3 on the way, she's going to be called Persephone?
No. No, okay? Don't wish that juju on me, okay?
But the thing is, but Hades got shortchanged a little bit because there were 3 brothers. There was Zeus, there was Poseidon, there was Hades. And so Zeus, basically, he seemed like a dodgy character to me, Zeus. You know, he would be if he's from Crete. He would be, wouldn't he? Yeah? So, you know, the thing is, so you have, though, that because Hades actually in many ways was quite honorable, and he was the one that sort of got shortchanged a little bit. And
yes,
so
that's what I told them in the beginning why I liked them, you know, because the three, I mean, he didn't choose the underworld. That was what was left for him to basically to divide the three elements.
Kingdoms, elements, which is very true. And he was actually quite honorable. He didn't get greedy. Zeus took the thunderbolt, and you know, Poseidon took the trident, and he'll take, you know, but I also found that, you know, when you go to the Odeon Zeus in Crete, it's a really boring cave, right? It's really boring. It's like really, you know, so it's like okay, but
okay, I was supposed to go there, I never had the chance. So
don't worry,
I want to go next time I go to Crete.
Yeah.
No. So if you had to pick, what would you have picked, the Thunderbolt or the Triton? Which one would you guys have picked if those were your options?
Thunderbolt, Trident, or Hell?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, when you put it like that, I mean.
Well, Hell's very interesting.
The wine and the music. I'm going for the grapes and the music. And do you know that actually the fact that Pan, he had his followers in Mykonos. There's this great like underwater cave in not in Mykonos, in Kefalonia. Sorry, in Kefalonia. There's a great underwater cave, which is a blue cave with a hole in it. And this is where the followers of Pan used to have their bacchanalia, or their like sort of like parties. And what they would do is play.
We have that in Portuguese, bacchanal.
Now we call them raves, and we call them festivals, but they're the same thing. So they would, you know, they're too busy having a good time to worry about the Thunderbolt and the Trident. I'm too busy having a good time, you know.
We're just having delicious Greek wine.
Exactly right. But on that note, I might go and have to get some wine. I'm going to join you, and I'm going to grab some wine quickly, actually, on that. So.
Yeah, because I'm having like the Greeky bubbly Moscato. That's my favorite of all.
Yeah, I'm going to get some more. Hold on, wait.
Nice. I love it. It's now become a wine party. Yes. I love it.
We set an invitation like bring romantic dress code and bring your cocktail.
Yes.
And this is like Sabrina's favorite drink. Because I had it in Crete and I loved it. It's like the Greek bubbly Moscato is really delicious. It's the best one.
Okay,
I like sweet and not very strong drink, so that is totally perfect for me.
Yeah, see, I love a Moscato wine. I mean, that's just between me and you, and I guess everybody on Facebook. If I could just have a bottle to myself of Moscato wine, I'm good. Like, don't even come after my bottle, okay?
And the bubbly one, because in Crete they have the bubbly Moscato, so it's almost like champagne, you know?
Yeah.
You have like the bubbly thing, so it's delicious. You just.
Man, I'm missing out. I should have had wine in my house.
I'm missing Greece right now. Like whenever this pandemic is over and we feel safe, I need to go back there and do some shopping. My olive oil, my wines.
Hey, I'm coming back with you. You go, I go, and we're gonna make Fern go too.
This is actually this is some raki that I have. I don't have any wine. So I'm gonna. This is quite a lot. This is quite heavy. This stuff.
Okay. But cheers for your new book coming out next month too.
And the trilogy.
Thank you. Cheers, everybody.
I love it. This is amazing. I should have had wine, man. No one told me this was a wine party. I mean, I got other stuff, but I don't have wine.
I know, wine. I just love it. Like the bubbly Moscato from Greece is just like my favorite always.
I'm telling you, you had me at Moscato wine. I like the sweet ones. Like I said, don't come after my bottle. Get your own, okay? I got mine. You get your own bottle. We don't need to share. You know, that's how I am for wine. The sweeter it is and stuff, I don't like the really bitter. I don't like that.
I know. I like the sweetness of it. It's delicious. I just love it. And as I said, like Sabrina, my character, she loves that too.
A liquor. This is like sort of, I suppose it's the equivalent of Greek moonshine. I mean, we get in the plastic bottles and.
Okay.
Okay. Well, hey, if it was that kind of party, I would have gone and got my bourbon or my Jack. I mean, no one told me it was that. Like, what's going on? You guys are not keeping me informed, okay? I'm just letting that out there.
So Andrea, how what made you design that book cover? Why did you want it that? Just because you like the picture?
No, actually, it's not even my picture. My cover designer found that one to be better, for the cover, the way that she was doing it. But it's because they end up in Crete in book 3. So I wanted to have some background that kind of invoked Crete, and I was just like, I thought that the Venetian fort was the best, to do it, and also because it has something to do with the story. They, at the end of the story, she is there in Heraklion, and she wants to see the fort, and she goes and start walking around it, and then I can't say anymore because that's revealing too much of the plot. But
smoldering eyes and gives them the headlight.
Well, because see, like book 2 actually has the Temple of Poseidon in Cape Sunion, because that's another place that they end up going, and there is some very interesting thing that happens there with the 2 characters as well. So when I put that on there, it kind of like became a theme. You have like the couple, you have the background as like one of the places that they've been to, and I wanted to do something similar with the 3rd one. So that's why, it took us a long time, because my cover designer, she's fantastic. She's a Brazilian girl. She's there in the south of Brazil, but she does a lot of book covers for some American companies.
There you go.
Good. And she did all my covers for this, and I told her, like, we need to come up with like a concept for this 3rd one, and we went in looking into several different couples and pictures of Crete and others, and museums maybe, because it has something to do with museums also. And then this one was the one that came up the best. It took us almost 4 months to get to this concept, but finally.
I don't remember what's on the first cover for book 1. What was the first cover of book 1?
First cover actually doesn't have. It has him. Well, it has the man, like the man's torso, right, and the woman thinking about him.
I see. You get the kids out first before you get the setting, right?
Yes, but we are thinking about changing the cover and maybe putting the background of Houston in the first one. So
we start in Houston.
Yeah, because this way we'll follow the theme pretty much. Because when I did the first one, I didn't know what was going to happen in book 2 and 3. So that was not. And then, like, as we go and start like thinking about covers and what the plot is all about, then it came together that, like, okay, well, that would be better to have like this kind of background, and that's how it came out. And I think I told you before, like that. The books are being translated to Greek, and they're coming up in Greece. I think the first one is coming up in May. It's next month too. And they changed the first cover completely. He did another art concept and asked me if I agreed with that. And I said, no problem. You can do whatever cover you prefer to attract the Greek readers, right? Because like if it
what was the cover? What was the cover?
Well, I can't do a release right now, but basically it's kind of in the same concept. Like you have the couple, but you have actually Houston in the background, because he said it would be more interesting for the Greek readers because it would be exotic for them.
Yeah, that's the whole point. It's exotic. It's exactly right. I remember when I was in the south, in that Shenandoah Valley in the south, and to me this was like exotic, and they're like, what we're just like some southerners. I'm like, this is really exotic to me because I've never seen this before. Greece isn't exotic. It's like, I'm used to that.
I know, like whatever is exotic for us, it's not for somebody else. Like as people say, like, I'm from Brazil, and they say like, Brazil is exotic. I said, yeah, but I'm from there, so like I don't see that. So like something else would be more exotic. But my editor there the publisher in Greece, he's actually in Thessaloniki. And he just sent it to me like a week and a half ago, and he says, "What do you think about this cover?" And I said, "Okay, that's fine." And I also showed it to my cover designer of the American series just to see like what her opinion was, and she said, "That looks great. You know, like if that works for them, that's very, very, very good. Very romantic too. Like, but it's very different. And also they changed the name because of obviously like translating Olympian." Passion and Olympian Heartbreak and Olympian Love didn't make much sense. So they have like one name, and I forgot which was now. I think it's the Arrow of Love, and they're gonna do like book one and two.
Arrow does. No,
Né.
yeah.
Vevellis to Erotis. Yeah.
Arrow of Eros, all right. Okay.
So that's how they're gonna do that. And they're gonna keep my name like in English. They don't want to change it to Greek because they also said that is like much more attractive to have the foreign name in the book cover. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever you feel like it's the best way to sell the book there. So
that's funny.
I was just
you have different words for love in Greek. So of course,
yes, no, Erotis is the one that they are using, not agapo.
Yeah.
Not agape.
We're not doing philotimos now, are we? Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, okay, right. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's how it's coming. That's why I was talking to my cover designer here, and I told her like, what if we change the cover of the first one? So she's working on a concept right now. We're gonna like do a little bit of a changing format inside the books to be like all the same. Because there was another formatter that did the book one, and then we would just like do a revamp of the covers. I mean, not a lot of changes. You know, book two is basically not have any changes, but the cover of book one most likely will have changes.
Wow. Nice, good to know.
You got a lot of things going on, but I will say, because I am halfway through, in my personal opinion, of book one. Okay, we're back to my personal. I'm biased on being halfway through because you never really know what's halfway. But I will say I am very excited that book 3 is out because now I don't have to do the waiting that everybody else that finished book 2. I can just get the book.
Right?
I'm so sorry, you guys, but I was strategic in that. Yes, I was. But no, I am very excited that book 3 is out. My daughter is losing it. So if you hear banging on the background, that's my child. Anyway, always eventful with me on here. But I will say that I know nothing of Greece. And so I really have a history lesson here. And I'm very grateful for it, Zach. That was amazing. So I guess I would have to say or ask the question, since Zach's on, because I'm curious to see what would be your favorite, I don't know if they're monuments. I'm going to call them monuments, but I know that they're not. That is in Greece or Crete. Anyone?
In Crete or in Greece?
Yeah.
Either one. Pick one.
Okay. It's not going to be what you think. Is this for me or is this to Andrea? Who are you asking?
Both.
Whoever wants to go
you
first.
go first. It's your show. You go first. I'll go second then.
Well, I said in the beginning, like the temple of Poseidon in Cape Sunion was absolutely a treat when I was there because I had seen it a lot in pictures before and that sunset and all that. And when I was there in person, you know, and experienced that sunset and the way that the place is and that rock, plus the whole history behind it, like the whole mythology behind it, like of King Aegeus being there on the cliff, you know, looking at the sea, waiting for his son to come back from Crete, and the sail being black, and he thought that he was dead from not being able to kill the Minotaur, and then like jump into his death there on the cliff. The whole thing is so romantic and sad, but it's I don't know, it's just like because of the whole story too, you know, and then the place being so absolutely beautiful, and especially like in the sunsets, like probably like one of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen in my life. That would be pretty much like my favorite one so far. But obviously there are so many other places in Greece overall that I haven't been to because of all the many islands. I know there's like this wonderful temple also in Rhodes that I wanted to see. And there are so many, and of course, like the Parthenon, the Acropolis, all that's just like being in the hotel having breakfast and looking at that, which I did, because that's one of the things that Sabrina does in the book, and I experienced that, is also something completely extraordinary, especially like if you really love the mythology and like the country as much as I do. So that, I don't know, it's just hard, but Cape Sunion is right now like my top one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a good call. Cape Sunion's a good call. I mean, it's I actually have a distant aunt that has a house near Cape Sunion. Actually, I've had a few. I've been a few times, and it's quite interesting. It is very dramatic how it drops into the bottom of the into the sea. In terms of the sort of, I mean, you know, in terms of like the buildings, there's so much history. I mean, you're talking about over 4,000 years, nearly 4,000 years of history. I mean, so you have to pick it. Are you picking mythology? Are you picking Minoan? Are you picking Mycenaean, which is Troy and all that stuff? Are you picking classical Greece, which is Sparta, all that rubbish? And then, or is it going to be further forward into like the Byzantine period, which is a very long period? And then there's also some of the modern stuff. And then there's obviously some of the nature things. So I think that I do like Sunion. Sunion's a lovely place. I do quite like where Aphrodite came out of the surf, or the Aphros. Aphros is surf as in the foam of the sea at Paphos. Mm-hmm. Paphos is like it's sort of like they don't have the best reputation. It's like coming from Jersey or something. You know what I mean? It's like it's not really the best sort of place. So it sort of clouds my judgment there a little bit. I think that the two places I really have been most amazed by are not what you'd think. One of them is actually the Meteoria, which is the monastery in northern Greece.
I just thought about that as soon as I finished talking about Sunion, because I went there too, and it was completely magical. It was just like, oh my God, you know, that place is incredible.
More so than I think than Mount Athos, which is more famous. But if you've seen the Bond movie For Your Eyes Only, that's the one that really exists, and it's phenomenal to think that these people lived in this place, and it's incredible. That's number one. And then the other one I really like is actually a place where I'm close to, and it's a place called Franco Castello, which means French or Frankish castle. And it's a small little castle, and it looks like a toy castle. And it's right on the beach in southern Crete. And it's not a very big place. And it's where the Franks were landing. And it was sort of very close to where my family are from originally. And you can stand on the beach in the sea, and the sea's up to your legs, and you can see the castle in a photograph shot. And then behind it, the mountains go straight up to like sort of 7,000 feet straight up.
Wow.
And there's something about it, and I think it's to do with the fact that, there's so many ties that I have to that area, and, stories I've heard from my grandfather or whomever, some are brilliant, some are sad, and some are heroic, and they are just life. I think they're stories of life. And so for me, I've had amazing times there, and I remember sort of training for tournaments, and I'd be running on the beach, or I'd be taking a rock and then going under the water to sort of train whilst I was doing for some of the tournaments I was doing on my own, like sort of like my Greek version of Rocky style training, And so for me, it's like the massive, but it's a beautiful castle. It's a perfect size. It's not really a famous place, but for me, it's one of my favorite places.
Where is that?
Franco Castello. So it's like south near Sfakia. So it's south of. Okay, so if you're in Hania, so if you're in
Crete.
It's in Crete, yes, in Crete, yeah.
Okay.
There's southern Crete, on the south of Crete. So it's like it's in between, it's south of Rethino, directly south of Rethino.
Okay.
Right there, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I will send you. I would get a picture out, but I've got to find one and then get it to.
I'm gonna nod my head as if I know where y'all are talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
I know. I totally forgot about Meteora because I went there like in January of 19, I think. I don't know. And it was just absolutely like surreal, you know, like the way they have like all those stones and like the monasteries on top of that. It's just like, and we were able to go inside, and you still have like all those Byzantine frescoes in some of them, and they are like very well taken care of, and it's amazing. There are still some people living there and taking care of those.
And the other place that is extremely magical for me, again, it's a modern thing. It's not a, well, modern in Greek terms anyway. Is Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, which is, again, it's a Christian thing. It's not ancient Greece, but it's just stunning to see the culmination of centuries of Greek. You know, and it's not just Greek. It's almost like, in many ways, it's our Western culture embodied in this building, and the frescoes are almost three-dimensional, and you see the step where everyone's walked through, and it's like a 1700-year-old step that is now worn away by people walking through it, and it still exists. It's gone through earthquakes. It's been, you know, it's been taken over. It's been converted into a mosque, and then into a museum, and then back into a mosque. That's politics.
Yeah, back into a mosque, unfortunately, and I haven't been. I haven't been there yet. I haven't been to Constantinople yet.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place, and it's a unique thing. And I think that the thing that's beautiful about a Greek culture is that some say we're like sort of almost like Jews but without the baggage. In other words, we have like a diaspora. We have an intelligentsia. We punch above our weight, and we seem to have sort of suffered. We've still suffered like others, certainly like the Jews have suffered, but in terms of like that we've given a lot to the world as is, and I think I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of that, and I think we're only 10 million people. There's only 10 million.
Yes,
10 million.
But you should be proud of it because it's a lot of things that
New York City.
Yeah, and a lot of things we do, and a lot of words that we have are coming from Greek. I mean, I'm like, the more I learn the language, the more excited I am. I mean, super difficult and hard, but it is like in so many words, and especially because my native language being Portuguese, there are so many words that are just the same exactly. You know, it's just like as soon as you read it, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, it's the same words actually. So there's a lot of things that come from Greek, and it's very interesting.
What's the word for oven in Portuguese?
For what?
Oven.
Forno.
Huh?
Forno.
Oh, forno. Okay, there you go. I knew it.
Yeah, what's the word for door in Greek?
Porta.
Yeah, it's the same in Portuguese.
Yeah, and so exactly right. And there's some very interesting things like, and it's Portugal's got some great history too. I mean, I think being away from there, mate. I haven't been back to Greece for nearly 2 years now because of the pandemic.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
I mean, I have to go this year. I'm going, right. It's done. I'm probably towards the end of the year. I have to go. But you know, it's been a long time, and I took for granted being able to go there every year to get my fix, to get my top up, and I missed it. But you know, I suppose being stranded in Southern California, it could be worse. But still.
Hey, I'm stranded in Houston. I haven't been to Brazil either. I mean, last year there was nothing. I go to Brazil every year. It's the same thing. I can't wait to go and see that, and also to Greece. I mean, I'm used to going on vacation 4 or 5 times a year to Europe and Brazil. And then last year I was like, I can't believe I didn't even step on a plane.
I know.
And this year it's like, you know, I know that they are reopening, you know, but I'm taking it very slow because it's not, we're not out of the danger yet for just
out of the woods.
Yeah, exactly. And especially, well, when you have people there and you have family, it's different because you're not just going for tourism. But I think that just going for tourism and just to go and see it in this kind of a pandemic that we're going through is not very advisable right now.
Well, we're coming out of that, I think.
Hopefully, yes, with the vaccines and everything. I mean, I think there's still lockdown in Greece until after Easter.
You know, Easter it's Palm Sunday tomorrow. So
Yeah.
then Easter, Orthodox calendar is, you know, we have the old calendar. So it's you know, I've been doing Nistia and all that, and you know, all that stuff. But anyway, so there's no well, you're not meant to have this, but you know, I've got to make some rules. I'm only human, mea culpa. What can I say? So, but it's there's been a lot of lockdown in Europe. They've gone through it quite a lot, but the initial one in Greece was good. They shut it down quickly, but then second summer, this summer came back, but it's you know, we're going to get over it and we're done. We're going to get through it all. And
they reopened too fast and there was like too many craziness, but they've been locked down. Like the people that I know there that I talk to, they cannot leave their house without texting to the government to say like what they're going to go out to do. And like number 1 is take your pet out. Number 2, exercise. Number 3, go to the doctor. Whatever. Is this
in Crete? Is this in Crete?
That was not in Crete. That was in Thessaloniki. And I think Athens too.
In Crete, I didn't hear that, but then I suppose I got a couple of members of the family who are in the local government, so probably they get some special passes. I don't know.
No, actually my teacher, she's in Thessaloniki right now, and she showed me, you know, like we were on a Skype video call when we do the lessons, and she showed me, you know, she put her phone in front of me and she started showing me like, look at this, and that's what we have to do to go out of the house. And then we immediately received something saying, okay. And, you know, so I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Wow.
That's intense. That's intense. I would go stir crazy. That I would definitely do that. Yes, 100%. Well, we are coming close to our time. So I'm going to do my wheel of names and spin. You guys keep talking, because I love this. I feel like I'm traveling the world, because I'm not a traveler. I really am not. Like, I'd love to go to Brazil and to like Greece, and then like my husband wants to go to India at some point because his family's in South India. I am a Texas girl through and through, and I love my state, and I just don't leave very often.
So where's your husband from in South India? Where?
Well, he's a first generation here, but his parents are from Tamil Nadu, I want to say. They speak.
So he's from Sri Lanka.
No. See, this tells you how much I know. I don't know that. Maybe it's Chennai, unless that's the capital.
Chennai, in the south. So next to Kerala. Next to Kerala, right in the south.
Okay, I nailed it. Chennai. Yes, that's it. Sorry.
Yeah, really should go there. It's a pretty place.
Yeah, I would like to go see the Taj Mahal. Like, I'd like to go more North India. And his family is in more South India. But Russell Little, I mean, I do author talk and stuff with him. He went, and I felt like I was living vicariously through him when he went, because he goes and like really engulfs the people and like gets in like small villages and really lives, you know, like a local. So I was living through him. Yeah, I don't travel very much. I wish I did. There's awesome places. I just don't.
I spent a few months in India. I spent a few months living in India, in the south of India, in Kerala. I trekked over from Uttar Pradesh from Nepal, and then took a train through Jhansi. Maharani Jhansi, brilliant woman. The one of the heroines of the British mutiny, the Indian mutiny, sort of the warrior queen. She's really cool. And I wanted to go and see this place, and then I was like, you know, yeah, it's a very fascinating place. It's one of the in fact, as a Greek, comparatively, because Greece has the oldest culture in Europe by far, but then it does have a dark ages between the Minoans and the Mycenaeans, where there was a loss of language for about 400 years. And so we only have 3,500 years of unbroken history. But in India, they have 5,000 years plus unbroken.
Yeah.
Incredible. And like it's an incredible place. And, you know, I had the good, I mean, that's a story for another time.
Yeah,
there's a lot of nice history there too.
Amazing.
In India, yeah. I mean, I hear all about it. I mean, this is gonna make me sound so bad, you guys, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Indian food is not my favorite food. So, you know, I don't know. I find it hard to go to a place where I don't like their food, because then I'm gonna starve. I mean, I don't know. That's me as a person. But every time I go home to San Antonio, which is where his parents are, I eat it. So, it's kind of one of those, whatever. However that makes me sound. But I'm not even going to go there. I would try new foods and stuff, but I'm not even going to go down that route. Like, no, not even going to try it.
You're going to have no problem liking Greek food then.
Yeah. Or Brazilian food, actually, come to think of it.
Yeah, both food is delicious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm different. According to Josh, I'm just a true Texan girl that's gonna die in Texas, and this is a true state. Like, I'm gonna die in Texas. It runs through my blood. So
you can die in Texas, but you can live throughout the world.
I know, but I live vicariously through people that go all over the world. Like you guys, like I feel like I've been there now,
Well, you're going to book 2 and you're going to read a lot about Greece because I describe a lot of places in Athens.
Yeah. See, I'm
and then book 3, there'll be Greek. So
I know, I watch all these things. So eventually the next time you go, I'm just going to grab Zach and Fern and we're all going to come with you and we're just going to go drink a ton of Moscato wine and have fun. Like, that's what we're going to do.
Let's go party in Crete. Go to the bars and stay like dancing until like 5 o'clock in the morning or 6. That's what I was doing.
That's standard.
I know. Like we are hopping from bar to bar and going in.
On my cousin's wedding, they're doing Cretan dancing in it, which is like it's very fast movement. It's quite tricky. It's quite intricate. It's almost like sort of Cossack dancing, almost with high kicks.
And they do that in the bars too. I was trying to join in, but I wasn't very.
One day, when we post-pandemic, we'll do some dancing on the tables. And so it does.
We have to plan a trip. Like whenever you go, you tell me. I'll try to go at the same time. So have some fun in Greece because I love the way that they have fun. They're like we're going from and everybody like dances together. Like a group of people starts dancing, the way, and then like everybody can just join in, even if you don't know them. And one's paying the drinks to the other. Sitting there and suddenly like the waiter comes with a drink for you. It's like, who's giving this? Like there are people on the other table just buying drinks for everybody. It's really, really cool. I love it.
See, everybody just loves everybody. See, that's my kind of food. That's where I should just be.
Remember, beware of Greek wearing gifts, huh?
What? Yes, try Greek gifts.
Oh my goodness.
But it's a lot of fun though. Like we used to do that in Brazil, but it's not like this anymore. It's not safe, like nobody does there anymore. Going from bar to bar, hopping. I mean, we were just literally like walking. We would park the car, close to the downtown area and just like start walking from Morosini Fountain all the way to those little streets, like in the middle of Heraklion, and finding all different bars, and we walk in and then have a drink and dance a little bit. Then places not too good, we go to another one, and there was always they're always meeting everybody that they know. It's like so much fun, and everybody knows each other. It's like we were doing this like almost every night until like 4, 5, 6 in the morning. The day we went to the Bazookia to see the artist was even more fun, because after that we end up going out again. Like we just finished the show at like 4 o'clock in the morning. We go to the center of the city and still go to bars and still dance, and it's crazy, but it's a lot of fun.
24 hours, nothing shuts down.
No, nothing. Well,
the one good thing about the pandemic has been this. So when in LA, I mean, which has got similar climate to Athens, really, and I was spending quite a lot of time down in in La Jolla, down near towards San Diego, because of the lockdown. Excuse me, they put everything outside dining. And it was just like Greece. I'm like, and now they've realized the genius of sitting outside and eating.
Yes.
We're all sitting outside now. So now there's everything's outside, which is actually great. They've finally seen sense. So we're
always like outside there all the time. Anyways, like we were just sitting there. Yeah, and especially like in the afternoon when you go for Fred Espresso or something, you just like sit outside and Yes, all of them, but I loved Fredo Espresso for some reason. And it was so strong, and I was just drinking it like it was like a Brazilian espresso, but cold.
Yeah. It's quite strong.
Yes. And I was like, okay, I'm like ready to be awake all night long dancing because I had my fix of Fredo Espresso like at 4, 5, 6 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Or you have some sigoudia, which is raki in Crete.
Yes. And uzu.
Real good. Well, this has been
I'm craving. I need to go to Greece as soon as possible.
I know. Something got me going now. I'm like, yeah, I know. I totally forget about it.
I love it. This has been so much fun. So you guys, Olympian Love, the third book in the series, the final book is finally out. So go and get the ebook. The physical book is coming, and the winner tonight of the physical book, when we get it in, is Christina Solis. So I'm going to jot your name down. If you can send me a Facebook message, that would be fantastic, letting me know your address so we can send you the physical copy of the book when we get it. But this has been so much fun. So much.
Congrats, Christina.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, Zach. And I'm just so excited.
Zach, where's your book? Show your book. Do you have one?
No, hold on a minute. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let him get it.
It's not about me. It was about you. It's not about me. It was about you.
Oh, well, but you're a special guest. So, like, people will read my book and then they want to know more about Greece. They go to your book.
They asked me for the link.
I got another one with pictures in it if you want, but it's
I love it.
Now say again the name and where we can buy it.
It's the Vevellis Chronicles, the Crescent and the Cross. You can find on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can go to my website, which is www.varkaris, my last name.com. Very simple. You can go through to my publisher that way. If you go through that way, there's some artwork that we do, and I also have a YouTube channel about sort of things about sort of periods of intellectuals and a common guy in periods of history. Like we do stuff like that. So like two guys stuck in Stalingrad, and you know that Germany and Russia have the same bird, the eagle. But
I need to see if I'm following your.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is why we will win and they shall fail. So stuff like that. But anyway, so there you go. Plug enough. One more time. Look.
I love it. I put your Amazon link in the chat. People were asking for it. So I put it in there for you while you guys were reminiscing on Greece and making me want to go. So
yeah. So if you enjoy Olympian Love trilogy and want to dive more into Greek minds, just go to Zach's book because it is awesome. And it's also, isn't it a trilogy too? Or like you have
it's actually 6 books. It's a series of books. And it's about members of the Vevellis family. So this one is about 2 brothers. The next one is about a mother and daughter. The next one is about a husband and wife. It's members of, so it's different. But yes, it's about the Greek mind, which is all full of drama and tragedy. And then rinse them a bit.
Yes. And that's what I had on my book too. Like there was a little bit of drama and tragedy, but just because like the main character was like this Greek guy and then the woman was like an American woman. But I hope you all enjoy the trilogy, Olympian Love. Actually, the book 1, Olympia Passion, is on sale on Amazon. The ebook is right now 99 cents. So that's the best way for you to start this trilogy. Go to Amazon and you pick up the book for 99 cents. I think it's going to be on until the end of this month, maybe beginning of next month for this price. Then it's going to go up again. And then like you have the whole trilogy that you can finish, like, in a couple of days if you enjoy it. And I hope you do, because I love my love story. Like the story of Nikos and Sabrina, I really enjoy it. Huh?
Very good. And there's a lot to be said for Greek men. There we go.
Yes.
Yes, I know. That's not what we're talking about right now.
I know, personal experience too. What can I say? But
I love it. But on that note, we hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Saturday and a great weekend. And we're just go out and get the 3rd installment, the 3rd book in Olympian Love. So you guys,
the first one if you haven't started the trilogy yet. So like take advantage of the sale and get all of them and read it and let me know. And then also, don't forget to leave a review.
Yes.
Zack and me and all the authors totally thank everybody for reviews because it's so important and so hard to come by.
Yes.
So
Reviews
if you
are important.
can spare a few minutes to just go on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, wherever you bought the book, even Goodreads works, and just write a line that you really enjoyed it, that makes a ton of difference for us, and then makes us so happy. It's like tipping us, you know. You like something to say like you enjoy it, and makes us more interested in writing more and having more fun coming up with these ideas and these stories for everybody to enjoy.
Absolutely. Reviews are very important, and also sometimes the constructive reviews make you understand that, you know, sometimes it's you might, as a writer, we are frail, ego-driven creatures, whether we like to admit it or not. And so sometimes when people say, "Oh, I wish they said more about this or more about that," and you say, "Oh, I wish I'd trusted my instincts and done it," which is why, for instance, I've done that novella about Alexis and Irene, because the publisher originally wanted me to take it out, which was right in the sense of the story, but not right for the grand theme of it all. And so there's an interesting side there. And Alexis is very good looking. You like him, just fine. He's good.
Yes, I'm sure it'll be very fun. And then when we do the launching of your novella, then we'll have another party again.
We
are all about having book launch parties, absolutely. But they are right. The greatest compliment that you can leave an author is a review. Whether, you know, it's a 1-star or a 5-star, they're going to take it, and it makes them better writers, and it makes it just them continue to write, which is what you guys want, is for have books to read. And so we need writers. So leaving reviews are the greatest compliment that you can. But thank you guys so much for joining us today and celebrating this book.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Aimee. Thank you, Zack, for coming in as my special guest. And thank you, everybody that was attending. And obrigada, meninas, e todo mundo do Brasil que veio ver. I had to thank my Brazilian friends who came on.
I love it. You guys have a great rest of your weekend, and go and download Olympian Love. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye. Thank you all.